warning signs for him. No, it's certainly going to be. We are going to be ahead of schedule. Or behind. Behind. Sorry. So hello everybody, if we could ask you to all take your seats and we'll make a start. So thank you.
Alex is like anxious.
Good, you can see the direction. Ele foi procurar o diretor, por isso ele queria falar. Da digitalização, né? Probably there won't be anyone here. Oh, exactly.
Not here, I will talk on behalf of those.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
So,
Are you happy to start?
yeah,
I think
let's
that
go.
microphone's not working.
Please.
Is that working?
Well, hello. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my voice is not so good. It's not so exciting this morning. Yeah, I'm leaving, and the flu is leaving me, and I'm sweating a little bit, so don't run out of me, okay? Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here, and for this workshop. And then I'm doing this initial talk to acknowledge the workshop, the effort we did to have this workshop here, and acknowledge the Institute of Advanced Studies that is hosting the institute in the name of Professor Paulo Saldiva that could not be here to introduce the institute. Okay. Well, we have some information before we introduce ourselves. Okay. The first one is that we have fire exits. Okay, it's not for the public that is at home. Okay, because we are transmitting the meeting via streaming. Okay, it's being recorded too, but the fire exits is out there and to the right. Toilets are to the left. Please do not confound. This is a free moral and sexual harassment meeting workshop, so it's important to reinforce this kind of value, and it's an inclusive meeting, so that everybody is invited to talk, to discuss, to present your opinions. Okay. To the public that is here, so we are recording. You signed the authorization to use your images. If not, you need to sign, please, or not. And then we are not going to share your images. The questions will be done later by using the mic that is here. Okay, and we ask you to put your mobiles in the silent mode, or turn off it. For the public that is online, we can have questions. We can receive questions through the email IEAResponde, tudo junto, all together, IEAResponde@usp.br. IAE responde at usp.br. Okay? The video and the photos will be available in the Mediateca of the Institute of Advanced Studies some days after the meeting. So now we are going to introduce ourselves, and then we do their presentation. Huh? So this meeting, this workshop is part of a project, a joint project between the University of Surrey, UFABC, Universidade Federal do ABC, the UNESCO Chair for Ocean Sustainability that is hosted here in USP, in the Institute of Advanced Studies and in the Oceanographic Institute, and by Instituto Costa Brasilis that is taking care of all the resources of the project. Okay, and this this initiative was created by Kaylee, that will introduce herself. Because we know each other some time ago, and then she is working on these different aspects of marine litter, the social aspects of marine litter, and then we started some conversations some years ago. Natalia was part of that in a meeting organized by Ronaldo, which is here in Santos, under the scope of the British Council. And then it created this movement. So thank you, Ronaldo. It seeded this. It's important to say that. Okay? And then we are here, and we are doing our best to, if the flu allows. Okay? So say that, I will start with introductions, asking Kaylee to introduce herself.
So I'll just keep it brief. So I'm Kaylee Wiles from the University of Surrey, and looking at the people side of marine litter.
Hi, I'm Natalia Gilardi. I'm from the Federal University of ABC, and I'm here looking for partnerships concerning citizen science in general and biodiversity or marine litter. So.
Hi everyone, I am Larissa Kawabi. I think most of you have talked to me yet. I'm also from Federal University of ABC, supervised by Natalia there. I've been working with citizen science since 2015. Is that right? Yes, I think so. And I am the researcher assistant here at the OLA project, basically.
Okay, and I am Alexander Turra. I am professor here in the Oceanographic Institute of the São Paulo University, and I am the chairholder of the UNESCO Chair on Ocean Sustainability that was created last year. So we are all interested in marine litter and in citizen science. Yes. Okay, we sorry.
Now it's over to you.
Okay. Over to you. Yes, we have some questions to you. We are going to have an introduction moment. Okay, so we are not going to ask your names because the name is in your badge. Okay, and you have time to talk to each other during these days. So we created a different way to introduce yourselves. I will ask some questions, and then who identifies itself with the question, stand up, and then sit. Do you know that, Simone? The first question, who is from NGOs? Okay. Second question, who is from government? Thanks. Who is from university and research institutions? Yes, I need. Very good. Who is angry with São Paulo traffic? Okay. Who lives at the coast? Yeah, the opposite of the last question. Who works on citizen science? Mais ou menos. More or less. Yes, okay, more or less. Who considers education and research are important for the society? Why this question was put here, I don't know. I have no idea. Who does environmental education? More, we have only more 30 questions, okay? The best one is the next one. Who likes chocolate? Yes, a lot of happy people here. Who does work on marine litter? And the last one, who is interested in citizen science and marine litter? Obvious. So you are now introduced to each other. Okay? Okay. To finish this and move on, I need to say that today is a very important day. I'm talking in a personal way, not in an institutional way. Okay? Today is a day that brings us the possibility to discuss very important things. And the logic behind the manifestation that is being done today is almost the same. The principles that guide citizen science. The importance of people, the importance of science, the importance of society, the importance of participation. And although we are not there in the manifestation because this meeting was planned some months ago and the data was blocked since then, we could not change it. But I think even being here, we, at least the ones that would like to be there, may consider that are there too. Okay, so I think this is a kind of a way to create some type of resilience in the society to move the society to a better situation in the future. So it's not a manifestation on the streets, but it's a background manifestation to create a movement. So I would like to say that. And then?
And so that's the general kind of goal of why we're here. But what we would actually like to achieve, both us as a team, but also hopefully for all of you, we have 5 main objectives from these 2-3 days of workshop. So the first is to identify and actually initiate a network of people who are interested in marine litter and or citizen science. So as you all stood, I think we can actually tick that already. We're all here today, so hopefully you'll find these networking opportunities very useful. Second is actually to understand what is already being done across Brazil. So over the course of these 2 days, we're hearing about lots of different initiatives and understanding what is actually being done in terms of marine litter more generally. And then we'll look towards actually seeing how citizen science can actually be implemented in any existing initiatives. So where are there some citizen science initiatives already in place, and where could there be? What are the opportunities and what are the potential barriers that we need to overcome, and how can we overcome those? So we'll be using a lot of times for discussion and hearing your views and your thoughts and try to understand this a bit further. We'll then have a hands-on experience of citizen science. This is Saturday, a nice early morning start, but I'm planning to sleep on the bus, so please join me. But so with that, we can actually experience what types of citizen science we could be doing. And then finally, we'll hopefully summarize everything that comes out of this meeting to produce a report so that we've got this for future documentation. So that's our goals, why we're here. Over the next 2 days, we will talk about each of those. So today we'll be very much focused on marine litter and initiatives more generally, and then tomorrow we'll focus much more on citizen science and discussing that further. I'd like to point out back to the inclusivity aspect that Alex talked about. Please do volunteer your thoughts. There is no wrong answer, and just be kind to one another and let everybody have their say. Food is an important part, so we have planned plenty of coffee and lunch breaks, so time to talk and time to eat. And we have most of the plenary sessions as one whole group here in this room, but we also have some other breakout rooms which we'll use later on. And then finally, to introduce Alex again, where you can stay seated. I don't think he's planned any exercise for you for the next few minutes, where he'll then talk about marine litter and actually why are we here. So
Okay.
I think, thank you very much. I think we'll leave you on the stage.
Okay, thank you. I will ask permission to stay seated. It will be better, I guess. Well, so the idea is to talk why marine litter is important. So most of you probably already know that. But today I would like to reinforce the things and bring to you some evidence or some information about the international agenda that's growing to face the problem of marine litter. And there are several innovative movements, international movements, that need to be internalized in the country to be considered. Okay? So, the idea is that the oceans are under multiple stress. And you know a lot about that. And one of these stressors is marine litter. That is a wicked problem because it has different origins, different processes, different problems, different impacts. The good thing of the litter is that the litter is visible, most of them, at least when they are composed by bigger items. And then we can see, and that's a very important thing that allows us to communicate with people, that allows people, the society, to understand this as a problem, as the sewage. Sewage we cannot see sometimes, but we smell. But there are other problems that are not easy to see, but they are there too. So it's an opportunity to use litter as a entry points to discuss the quality of the oceans as a whole. Okay? So there are multiple origins and processes. There is this magic number that 80% of the litter comes from land and 20% comes from the sea activities. The activities being conducted at the sea. And then this brings us to the logic of the source-to-sea approach. That was the basis of this paper published in 2015, showing that the Southeast Asia is the biggest hotspots generating litter to the ocean from land-based sources. Brazil is in the position 16. In the sea, as you know, the litter moves from the coast to the sea, to the ocean, the open ocean, and to the gyres, and then to the floor, and then to the biota, and then again to the floor, to the surface. And there is a very important and interesting process that's not been well described yet. So we don't know exactly what's happening in these different compartments and the budgets of these movements. This represents a model that calculated the concentration of microplastics in the ocean, and you can see rugally that this correlates with the gyres that are here. As we know, the litter is entrapped in the gyres for some time, because not necessarily the litter stays in the gyres, because they sink when they become small and how can I say that? Encrusted, folded, they sink, and then we don't know where they go. So it's important to understand these processes. And then the litter is composed by different types, processes, quantities representing the exposure, and effects to the organisms or to the society. So we are not going to talk only about organisms, about the impacts on the biodiversity. We are also going to talk about impacts on the society. So when you see these types of litter that we collected in the beaches of São Paulo, you can see that are different types of things. Although most of them are composed by plastics, this represents different processes and different ways to combat it. Okay, and there is one subliminal message here in this slide. That is this one. It's a joke that can only be done in Portuguese. I'm sorry. Do you know this? What's the name of that? It's toilet in Portuguese. Privada, ou seja, a praia pública, não é privada, né? Então a gente tem um problema. We have a conceptual problem. Yeah. So, the litter has brings different threats to the society. One risk associated to litter is to the biodiversity. Okay, and sometimes the increasing amount of litter in the ocean can cause blooms of organisms, like this insect, Alobates, which is an oceanic insect, that can deposit their eggs in a floating plastic, and then it may cause a bloom in their populations. And this may have consequences in the food chain, in a top-down manner or in a bottom-up manner, but also in terms of genetic mixing and dispersal of the population. So we may have important problems associated with the blooms of organisms due to the litter. Another aspect related to the biodiversity is the potential of litter to cause invasions of species, because some species like these two were already described associated with floating litter, and then the floating litter can bring them to new places, and then they may become invasive species. This is an extremely unknown process until now. We need to invest more in understanding that. Another one is related to fisheries and biodiversity. So we have impacts of ghost fishing on the biodiversity, but we have also impacts of litter fishing in the fish nets to the fishermen too. So we have problems. We have environmental problems here, and we have social and economic problems too. So these guys are spending too much time in cleaning their nets and fixing their nets because of the amount of litter. Here is one of the information derived from the thesis of Alan, which is here, Alan Krelling, that analyzed the potential of litter to make people avoid beaches depending on the scenario. So we use the different scenarios here to understand the way people will deal with that situation, and how much or the potential of that situation, that scenario, make that people avoid the beach. And this may cause impacts at the order of $8.5 million per year for a municipality in the north of Paraná, which is a very small one, Pontal do Sul, Pontal do Paraná. So it's very, very complicated. We have risks to navigation. This is the Museum of the Future in Rio de Janeiro, né? Museu do Amanhã. And this is the litter, perhaps showing what will be our tomorrow. Né? But we have problems related to engines, related to cooling systems in big vessels. So one of these vessels, in this case, was, I don't know how to say that in English, ficou a deriva. It was stopped at drift at the ocean, and then it may cause serious problems, may cause death and loss of income. Okay, we have risks to humans, although it's not completely clear. Okay, we may have potential risks related to humans. When we talk about particles, what we know now is that particles do not accumulate and biomagnify. But we have evidence that the chemicals that are in the particles can be transferred to the organisms, and then they could magnify, bioaccumulate and biomagnify. So this is one of the biggest areas of research now that need to bring evidence, that will bring evidence to discuss the risks to humans in terms of consumption of fish, of fisheries, of products from the aquaculture. Okay, and it's interesting because some people are arguing now that we inhalate more microplastics than we can consume eating fish, because we do not eat fish stomach normally. Yeah, we are not birds, but when we have small fish, we fry as a whole. But normally we do not eat the guts, we eat the meat. And then we are talking about the microplastics that are in the meat, which is very, very small, in small quantities. Okay? And then rafting of pathogens, we are talking about Vibrio, E. coli, several of pathogens that can cause harm to humans or biodiversity. So these are some of the problems. It's an overview of the problems of the risks of litter in the sea to the society, to the biodiversity, and to the socioeconomics. Now I am going to show you some of the, very briefly, some of the movements we can record in the international agenda related to marine litter. Okay? Obviously, marine litter is an environmental problem, and we are discussing environmental problems since the 60s, since the Club of Rome and the initiation of the discussions in the Stockholm Convention. So, but not naming marine litter, and not necessarily taking care of the oceans or considering the oceans. The discussion was not focused on the oceans, was not understanding the problems and the peculiarities of the ocean. So there are several movements from the 60s to now that show us that the marine litter and the oceans are becoming more important in this agenda. And then I will show to you the discussions in the international conventions related to the environment. Obviously, they were important in that discussion. The Earth Summit and the Letter of Earth that started to discuss these things, in special, in Portuguese here, litter, okay, and plastics. It is in 1992, okay. The Millennium Development Goals that did not mention the oceans, and obviously did not mention litter, but oceans and litter are behind almost all these goals. The Agenda 2030 with the 17 development goals, with one dedicated to the ocean, and this one with one action dedicated to litter. Okay, 14.1, this one. So by 2025, prevent and significantly reduce marine pollution of all kinds, in particular from land-based activities, including marine debris and nutrient pollution. The London Convention in 1975 started to discuss the pollution in the sea, but in 1973, Marpol brought the discussion of litter and said in the Annex 5 that plastics cannot be thrown into the sea in any place, not close to the coast, neither farther, distant from the coast. So it was there in 1973, okay? And then we have the Regional Seas Program that incorporated a lot of discussions on the marine litter, the GPA, which is the Global Program of Action for the protection of the marine environment from land-based activities, which incorporated extremely the logic of waste management and marine litter. Okay. This GPML, which is the Global Partnership on Marine Litter, was created in 2012 as a consequence of the Rio Plus plus 20 meeting here in Rio. And this is an example of what regional Cs are producing in terms of documents. We have already 12 regional, how can I say, marine litter plans to combat marine litter related to the regional Cs, with recommendations to mitigate and combat the problem. So it started in 2009. We have NOAA. We have NOAA with a strong, how can I say, a strong protagonism in marine litter, with several actions, several monitoring programs, mobile apps, creating some support to society to discuss these questions, including the meetings, the international meetings on marine debris, and the Honolulu commitment created together with UNEP in 2011, trying to synthesize the ideas or the strategies to combat marine litter. And then last year we had another marine debris conference that was compiling all the evidences, the recent evidences on marine litter. The Honolulu strategy is relatively simple. There are three main actions, line of actions. One is prevent introduction from land. The second one is prevent introduction from the sea. And the third one is the removal from the environment. There are some regional movements like the OSPAR Commission and the European Union initiatives. The initiatives related to the countries that speak Portuguese. The GESAMP initiatives producing 4 reports in the next 10 years only to discuss marine litter and microplastics. This working group 40 is now renewing its actions for a new phase to focus on the risks, the broader risks on the society and on the biodiversity. And then we have UNEA, which is the United Nations Environmental Assembly, that is in its 4th meeting, was conducted in last February, that is preparing resolutions. We have 4 resolutions that focus on marine litter, only focusing on marine litter. And these resolutions are signed by countries and guide countries, although they are not binding, obligate, they support countries in establishing their programs, their actions, their ways to deal with the problem. Okay? And then it was created an ad hoc open-ended expert group on marine litter and microplastics that is Brazil is taking part, at least until last year I was taking part of this group, but now things changed a little bit. We have a movement in G7 group and G20 group, led now by Japan, and all these initiatives are trying to find ways and support and fund ways to combat marine litter. The UN created the Clean Seas program, which most of you already know and probably are participating. We had the Ocean Conference, in which we had lots of volunteer commitments, 70 of them related to marine litter. And finally, last year, we produced this report that was launched in the ONIA this year to bring guidelines for the monitoring and assessment of plastic litter in the ocean. I was one of the editors of this report, and the idea was to bring some support for reduce uncertainty in the estimates of marine litter, allow data intercomparability between countries, allow data sharing, encourage international cooperation, disseminate good practices, and support the development of targets and sub-indicators of the SDG 14. The idea is to improve the way we are measuring litter in the ocean. And this brings us to this meeting, because this is a kind of way we can move on in terms of producing data and bringing information to the scene. This is a kind of table that is in the report, and this table shows here the types of policy concerns that we are trying to address measuring marine litter. So we are talking about impacts on tourism, on seafood safety, on human health and human injuries, navigational hazards, fisheries and aquaculture, animal welfare, biodiversity. And then you can see that if you will consider different compartments and as shoreline, seafloor, biota, sea surface, or subcompartments like fish, invertebrates, seabirds, or megafauna, or different plastic size, so macroplastics, microplastics, mesoplastics, you can have different types, you can answer different types of policy questions. Okay? And perhaps we can find an additional way or additional strategy to produce information to feed this table and to feed the policies, to feed policymakers, to feed society in terms of information on marine litter. Because marine litter and society have a very strong relationship. This report was produced by Kaylee last year and brings this perspective on the relationship between litter and the society, which is not so shallow. It has very deep links and things that are not so clear for people that are not working on that in deep. Okay, so we will have the opportunity to discuss these things with Kaylee this week. So the idea is to use this workshop to talk, to share, and to build. Okay, and hope you are excited. As you could see, I spoke in Portuguese using English words, and or at least try to do that. And if you didn't understand, I can start from the beginning. Again, no. Yeah, perhaps coffee to recover from this exciting talk with this exciting voice. Okay, so that's the idea, people. We are here to try to build something not only for us that are organizing this, for us as a country, which is facing this problem, which has a national plan that needs to be implemented, and it will be only implemented and evaluated properly if you have data. This is a key question, a key point of the process, and the result of this workshop and this project probably, we wish, could improve this. Okay? Thank you. Coffee break, please. Outside, in the same direction of the fire exit, okay? To the right. No, I'm okay. My shirt is not okay.
that's fine.
Oh, are you? Perfect. Just to let you know, I've got some warnings here, just to say we've got 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left. So we've got 20 minutes talking, and then we've got time for questions.
20 minutes.
20 minutes of talking, and then 10 minutes of questions.
I thought it was 15 minutes.
1 5. That's no problem. Please feel free to talk for an amount of time, because we also want to make sure we finish in time for lunch.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, there's a clicker here. So just to move on to the next slide, just press that button. The microphone should be working. So get everyone back in the room. Thank you very much.
Acho que tá com um pedacinho de laranja pra mim. Na verdade eu não sei, mas era programado para 15, né? Tá. Tá. Ela vai ficar levantando, né? Uns pouquinhos. Beleza. Tá.
Hello. So we are reconvening for this next session, where we are going to have examples of initiatives in Brazil working with environmental education and marine litter. So we have here Guilherme Flukinger. Sorry, tá difícil de falar. Oi? Não, dá. I need your password. Leave your finger here. Okay, Guilherme is an oceanographer, our former student here in the Oceanographic Institute. He is now Argonauta Institute's field technician, Kimas scuba diver instructor, underwater conductor of the Revis Alcatrazes, and colonist of Informar Ubatuba. He lives at the coast and has a very good relationship with local people, with different actors, stakeholders, and is engaged into this program of beach monitoring That is a very nice opportunity to collect information from beaches. So,
Oh, yeah.
Guilherme, welcome here. Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First, I am here in place of Hugo Gallo, the president of the Aquarium of Ubatuba and the Argonauta Institute NGO. And he's very sorry to not be here, but he had some personal problems and cannot be here. Also, Berenice Gallo from Tamar Project could not be here too. And now I'm representing the Aquarium of Ubatuba and the Argonauta Institute. And here I will tell to you about some activities that we make regarding the problem of marine litter. First, we go back to the past, to the foundation of Aquarium of Ubatuba. Was founded in 1995. And Hugo Gallo, in the first carnival after the inauguration, had depart with this situation. In January 1996, the beach was completely full of litter, and then he started to think about this problem. The aquarium is one of the pioneer. Is the first, really is the first private aquarium open for public visitation. Is in Ubatuba city. And is first to introduce the method of the touch contact tank, allowing to visitors to get more closely to the organisms, marine organisms, and was one of the pioneers of the work with marine litter here in Brazil. After he departed with this scene, he started to make some activities like clean up beaches after the concept of clean up day, and has organized some activities of cleaning the beach, and was one of the pioneers here in Brazil to do the clean up day as it is done worldwide. Then he also reserved some space on the aquarium of Ubatuba to present the problem, the marine litter issue. Here in the photo, we can pass through a hall that has a lot of items that was collected on the beaches or fishermen has collected and bring to aquarium. He also did some theater with marine animals or fishermen or people regarding the problem of marine litter, and also has adapted by Moat Marine Laboratory a poster that was completely devoted and has was widely spread around the institutes and other NGOs and other associations. Only in Aquarium of Ubatuba, circa of 3,000 people per year visits the visitor center, and it was with partnership with Tamar Project, and also all the visitor centers of Tamar has also this poster, and it has reached a lot of people. And in 1997, where marine litter was not so fully understood and not so fully people doesn't know what is this problem, and this poster aboard the duration of the litter on the sea, duration of the garbage, And most of people today doesn't know how much it rests in the oceans, and how many time it takes to degrade it. And then he created the board of the aquarium of Ubatuba, created the NGO Argonauta Institute, basically to get more rescue and rehabilitation of aquatic animals, and awareness campaigns about the sea litter and about other activities, anthropic activities that affect marine animals. And training also is more to get some viability of research for education, research projects related to marine conservation, get some cooperation between institutions, and it has several institutes in Brazil and worldwide, more than 100, that he make partnerships and was sponsored, and other types of partnerships. And the Argonaut Institute work with rehabilitation with marine mammals, but he also get environmental education projects like the Museum of Marine Life that is in Aquarium of Ubatuba, and now we are constructing a new museum in the visitor center of the Argonaut Institute. Is a little wider, and also work with Sabina in Santo André, some educational projects, and we have the rehabilitation center for aquatic animals. Today we are doing the beach monitoring project. Is a conditioning to Petrobras explore the pre-salt layer. He must do some conditions that IBAMA, the federal agency of Brazil, demand to do. And one of these conditions is the monitoring beach project. That is, we go to the beach and see if there was some leader or oil or anything related to the oil and gas exploration in the Santos Basin. And we also take monitor the marine animals, basically sea turtles, seabirds, and marine mammals. We register the dead animals and try to rehabilitate the live ones. And we also make necropsies that we can further analysis if there is some impact or not to the related to the oil and gas exploration. We covered the beaches. The Argonaut Institute covered the beaches of Ilhabela, Ubatuba, São Sebastião, and Caraguá. The most of the beaches are monitored daily, and we found at this moment 6,703 specimens of animals, and the most dead. And during the necropsy at once, 1,500, circa of 500 animals were presented some kind of anthropogenic interaction, and more than half of that was about leader impact. We found some leader in the gut content of the animals or entangled in the exterior of the animal. And the other interactions was fishery, boats, and aggression. this is some emblematic cases of the that we recorded. This is a Magellanic penguin with a rose bouquet, but plastic bouquet all over the body, and a swordfish that a fisherman bring to us entangled with the fishing gear. This is a brown booby. He was rescued with some rope material on the beak, and this species has an interior nostril. He must keep the bill opened so it can breathe, and with this rope he cannot breathe, but we rescued it at the time. And some other things that we found on the gut content, like paints and barbecue wooden piece. And this is another that gets widely spread by the internet. That was a dolphin that flip-flop tire was on the mouth of the dolphin, and he could not feed, and then he was very starved, and he was found dead, stranded on the beach. And by monitoring daily the beaches, we depart also with this sense, and we get the effort of the monitoring to do something. Then we start to collect some items and also make some separation and qualification of some items of some beaches. And daily we started to collect during the monitoring the marine litter, but not with the intention of clean all the beach, but to get a little amount to also bring a reality of what is going on these beaches. We use the item table of the NAP, and to do this thing, we have a lot of people making this monitoring daily, and we cover 57 beaches in Batuba, 31 in São Sebastião, 29 in Ilhabela, and 15 in Caraguatatuba. A total of 28.3 tons was collected between 2016 and 2019. The most of the litter collected was plastic, about 70%. And here is the items, plastic items collected, most packages and plastic and bottles and Cape bottoms, and also we repaired that we found some old leather, some with validity of 1997, 1996, paste tubs, margarine packages, Coca-Cola. I don't know if I can say it, but Coca-Cola, and also international leaders. That international leaders we found most in São Sebastião and Ilhabela, and we started to look where is the origin of this international leader and compare to the ships, to the vessels waiting for a dock on the port, and we have almost found that this international leader was related to the ships, and this is inclusive one of the future projects of of the institute to do some partnership with port and other municipalities and with the ships to do educational project to mitigate this problem. And also we found during, it was 2017 or 2018, a container ship logging Pantanal has some containers dropped to the water, and some of these items, like the Christmas balls, was collected by us 1 year after 1 year later in almost all the beaches from Ilhabela, São Sebastião to Ubatuba. And we also collect the marine litter, and we has made a Christmas tree with these Christmas balls that we found during all the year, and also other marine litter that we found. This is only a few part of a little part of what we found. And we make a paper bringing modeling to these balls, these Christmas balls. We have do this modeling to help future accidents. We hope that it's not going to happen, but is a frequently case. Container ships falls on the sea very frequently. We also have a bulletin of the marine leader. CETESB, the state agency of environmental state agency of São Paulo, has a bulletin of the quality of water, vulnerability of water, and we take this idea and bring to make this bulletin. I have brought some of them and go to distribute to you. And we use a methodology of classification proposed by Earl and all, but adapted to our region. And these are some of the results that we spread along. Most of the beaches are classified like traço. It's not absent, but not so chaotic. And the future actions is the continuity of the environmental education work by continuing this program on the beaches and talking with people daily, and continuing to this bulletin, and also spread this bulletin to other institutions that make this beach monitoring project that reached Rio de Janeiro to Santa Catarina, and also some places on the northeast coast. Other thing that we gonna do is to regarding the old leader, like Turra said, some fishermen catch very large amount of marine leader on their nets, principally trawling. Then we use this effort that is already done by these fishermen, and we can use to diagnose the old leader. We have the catch per unit of effort, and we can make a estimation of this marine leader. And we thought that this old leader is going most older on this marine leader bring by trawl. And we are looking for partnership sponsors, and we are going to contact responsible agencies. Other other thing that we already do is to distribute waste baskets in partnership with the City Hall and Tamar, and we gonna make this in more beaches. We try to reach more beaches, and we also notice that the marine litter in the beaches after rains is very bigger. The problem is bigger because of the river and the population that lives the river and communities that throw the garbage on the rivers. And we want to create eco barriers on these rivers. And thank you very much, and sorry about my English.
Thank you so much, Guilherme, for sharing with us such a nice talk. It was possible to see an initiative that provides a huge network and possibilities that we can discuss more about later. So thank you. Doing environmental education and using a protocol and publishing your results and sharing with us. I know that you want to distribute these bulletins. Yeah. Larissa also can help you afterwards. Thank you, Guilherme. Now, anyone would like to make a question to Guilherme? Kaylee has the microphone, so you can raise your hand and she will reach you. Questions? Please don't be shy. If you want to ask in Portuguese, we can translate.
Thank you for the presentation, Guilherme. I just want to know if you, within that list of the types of plastics or the debris that you found, if there are cigarette butts there?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, a lot.
And which one of those? I see. Oh, yeah. I see. Yeah.
One important thing is that we do this collect of marine litter during the monitoring, so we cannot take a long time or deviate so much of our way. And some items past we cannot see, and the filter of cigarettes maybe is these ones. In my opinion, this number would be bigger. If you notice here is pets. The pets is here and is bigger. Then this number gets higher, but it's not that case. No.
Any other questions? I have one quick question. So with the beach cleanups and the monitoring, both the animals and the litter, are they involving volunteers? And if so, who are your typical people who are doing the monitoring?
This staff is contracted by the Argonaut Institute by this licensing of the IBAMA. IBAMA make this condition to Petrobras, and Petrobras must give the money to do this monitoring project. Is several conditioners that the Petrobras must do to explore the oil and gas, and this is one of them. There are some environmental conditioners and some social conditioners.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions before we move on? Burn off all the sugar.
Hello. What do you do with the plastic collect? Put in correct place or go in recycling?
This is a very good question, and we at the start we have not so much to do. We going to take on trash, but now we are separating some items that can be recyclable, but not the most of the marine litter cannot be recycled. It's too dirty, too a lot of sand, or with salt, polystyrene, isopor cannot be recycled if it's with salt marine water. But yes, we are doing this. We are separating some of the materials.
Thank you. And we've probably got time for, I was going to say one more question. Let's see how quickly we can do them all. I'll creep behind you.
Normally the municipalities have a daily program to clean the beach. Is that the case on these 4 municipalities?
I cannot answer for all, but Ubatuba is not the case. Caraguatatuba sometimes do, and also the beaches that we monitor not daily but weekly on the boat too. When we saw a lot of marine litter on some beaches, we try to collect too. And then are also some other activities of cleanup that we do, not only on the beaches that are daily monitored. And in some cases, like the beach is chaotic, we during before the monitoring, we try to collect too, and we talk with the municipality agencies and to help us with truck and tractor if necessary. But Ubatuba has not a daily or weekly or so cleanup system of the beaches.
Okay, thank you, Guilherme. Now I would like to invite Caroline Schio from Instituto Monitoramento Mirim Costeiro to share her talk with us. Caroline is an oceanographer. She is graduated at the University of Vale do Itajaí, Univale, a postgraduate in economics and coastal management from the University of Barcelona. She also has a master's degree in agroecosystems from the Federal University of Santa Catarina. She is the idealizer of the social educational program Monitoramento Mirim Costeiro and president of the Instituto Monitoramento Mirim Costeiro, Junior Coastal Monitoring Program. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate of this workshop. It's an honor to be here today and share with you our experience. And I'd like to start my presentation with this picture because it shows a little about the essence of our program and what are the children, the essence of our program. Because we believe in the power of transformation that they have. Sorry. Our efforts are about planting a little seed inside these little beans. For the future, they become a great network of guardians of the ocean. So, the Junior Coastal Monitoring Program, as known as Monitoramento Mirim Costeiro, or MMC, is a pioneer social environmental education that has as objective the transformation of children into guardians of the ocean. Our mission is to contribute to building of responsible, critical, proactive, and more aware citizens, turning them into community agents of transformation. To achieve this goal, the MMC brings children closer to the coastal marine environment, offering significant learning experience that connect them to the environment they live in. The children's instrumentalization with research tools provokes their sense of curiosity, exploration, and stimulates their knowledge. We are located in the south of Brazil, Santa Catarina's state, in the Garopaba town. What children learn in the coastal monitoring? They learn about the tides, the waves, currents, the safety in the sea bath. They learn about climate condition, they monitoring climate condition. They learn about marine biodiversity, types of beaches, importance of dunes and their vegetation. They make some seawater quality. They learn about origin and composition of the sands, the impacts of marine debris, and they learn to take care of life. This is our field worksheet, where children write what they observe on the beach. So we start observing the climate conditions like cloudiness, wind direction, wind intensity, air and water temperature, moon phase, wave size, level tide, and size of the sand grain. The children are divided into 3 groups for make the monitoring, and each group build a research area from the dune into the sea that correspond to one transect with 20 square meters. In total, the 3 groups monitoring 60 square meters. They shift and dig the sand, and they separate what is natural and what is not nature from the beach. So they count the litter found on the beach in which square, and here is the back side of our worksheet, where these columns correspond of which search square. We also make a water quality analysis with a chemistry lab, and at the end of the monitoring, we observe what structures are present on the beach. During the field research trips, the children collect, identify, and classify the litter found on the beach. They learn about the source and origin of waste, its distribution in the ocean, durability, and several impacts to the marine biodiversity. This exercise promotes reflection about their consumption habits, especially related to use of plastics and single-use items, as well as how this waste is disposed away. After the field, the MMC educators return to school to analyze the results with the children. They make some graphs, some data tables, and drawings. The field results, our worksheet, stay with the teachers that also use the field information for their classes and homeworks. So here we have some examples of these homeworks, like writings, drawings, comics, mosaics, and paintings done by the children. We also take the children to a whale watching, because in the winter we have the right whales in our region. They come from Antarctica to our coastal zone to give birth to their babies. And most of children had never seen a whale before, so it's an unforgettable experience for them and for us always. At the end of the year, the children the children get a junior coastal monitor booklet that contains stories, challenges, games, and a junior coastal monitor certificate. This is some results in 6 years. We started at 2012. So we had almost 1,800 junior coastal monitor graduated from 12 public schools. We made 160 field trips to monitor 7 beaches. We made 354 workshops. And nowadays we have 2 other towns that are replicating our social technology. That's Ubatuba in São Paulo coast and Imbituba at Santa Catarina state. So since 2012 we have almost around 30,000 people impacted. Here is our institute headquarters, where we have a mini SEA museum, and we have some class workshop. We receive schools that come for visit the museum, and we offer some art and educational workshops to children of all of the ages. We also offer yoga classes once a week, and we had Reiki too for the community. And we make some expeditions, scientific expedition, to children from 5 years old. We also promote the International Coastal Cleanup since 2011. And these are some results. We have the collaboration of a volunteer network from 13 institutions. And here we have some results of these 8 years, where we collect more than 91,000 of litter in more than 8 beaches and 2 lagoons. The principal litter that we found was the cigarette butts, followed by plastics, styrofoam, bottle caps, straws or sticks, and nylon. Here are some photos of these groups cleaning the beaches. And since 2011, almost 1,700 people have already participated in the coastal cleanup beach at Garopabas beaches. These are some awards that we won. The most important one was the Latino America Verde, or Latin America Green, in 2011, where we were chosen as the best project in the oceans category. We also participate of the Ocean Conference as a volunteer committee. And at the last year, we were the semi-finalist of Itaú UNICEF Prize and finalist of Santa Catarina pela Educação Prize. This is our social network, so we have the website, the Facebook, the blog, Instagram, Twitter, and newsletter, where we spread the information of our activities. And we hope that you want to follow us in this journey to turn more and more children into guardians of the ocean. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Whilst Natalia makes her way up to the microphone, has anyone got any questions? She missed out last time.
Thank you. First, congratulations for your beautiful work. I'd like to know, how do you select the educators, or is it the whole group, the whole classroom that joins the monitoring? And I'd like to know about their level of engagement. If they're volunteers, I think they would be more engaged, but so it's depending on the first question about their engagement. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe I will need help in English. I will try to respond, but if I need, I will ask. I don't know if somebody can help me.
Eu vou fazer em português para você.
Eu acho que eu entendi a pergunta.
Como vocês selecionam, né, os participantes, os alunos, se é toda a classe, né, em que série que eles estão, como que isso é feito, e sobre o engajamento deles nas atividades.
Ok, eu vou responder em português, daí se alguém puder, né, e quiser traduzir, eu agradeço. A gente trabalha com o 4º e 5º ano das 12 escolas municipais. É um projeto dentro da rede municipal. Né? Ele é feito como um projeto complementar à grade curricular das crianças. Então, a gente vai, durante o horário escolar, fazer as atividades e a gente sai com a turma, junto com a professora, até a praia fazer esse trabalho. Né? Então, as crianças já vão para a escola e elas participam. É opcional, não é obrigatório, né? Mas a gente não teve caso de crianças não querendo participar da atividade. Eles têm um envolvimento assim, muito grande. Né? Inclusive, a gente tem formas de avaliar isso no fim do ano com questionários para as crianças e para as profs, para ter esse feedback tanto deles quanto das famílias, do quanto isso está chegando nas famílias. E está sendo bem positivo. Eles passam para as famílias o que eles aprendem, inclusive eles começam a exigir deles mudanças de hábitos em relação à questão do consumo, né, de plásticos e da disposição disso.
Well, just to translate for those people who, she was just saying that the activities are optional for the students. They are not obligatory activities. They occur in a period outside their normal class period. It's targeted to elementary children, school children, like 4th and 5th grade. And in the end of the year, they do assessments with the children and their parents, so to measure the impacts of the activities, and the results show that children take a lot to their homes and ask for their parents to change their attitudes regarding the litter, and they evaluate through questionnaires. Is that it? I think that's it.
Thank you. I think there was one more question there, sorry. Did you have a question?
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline, for your presentation. It was quite impressive. And obviously the focus of your work are the children.
Yes.
But my question is, do you have some special module, special attention to the educator? Because in Garopaba, possibly their mobility is limited. You don't change educator too much. But do you follow them? Do you give them some special attention in order to promote some capacity building for them, especially?
Nas escolas de Garopaba, a gente tem, dependendo da escola, tem uma mudança muito constante de professores. Não, tem escolas que têm um grupo já bem consolidado, que não muda há anos, mas temos várias escolas que todo ano muda os professores. Então, é um pré-requisito do projeto, junto com a rede municipal, que os professores participem das atividades, desde o primeiro encontro até as atividades de campo, né, e o final do projeto na escola. Inclusive, eles respondem esses questionários para a gente ver o quanto que isso está sendo importante para eles, enquanto agregação de conhecimentos, para as aulas, né, e como o próprio conhecimento pessoal também. E o quanto que eles estão conseguindo utilizar esses dados nas próprias disciplinas que eles ministram na escola. Então, é um desafio. Isso vai muito do perfil de cada professor. Tem professores que abraçam o projeto e fazem projetos maravilhosos ao longo do ano com os dados, né, inclusive teatro, música, e outros professores não se envolvem tanto. It's a challenge.
She was just saying it's a challenge to promote the capacity or the training of teachers, but they do that. It's a requisite for the teachers to participate in the project, to be trained and participate in all the activities they promote. Afterwards, they also include some of these aspects of the training into their day-to-day classes, and they share this with them, and do this like theaters and promoting drawings and several activities, and that's it, I think.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for your presentation. It was very nice. I would like to know, because it is a big challenge to know if what you do with the children will continue, if this effect is permanent or is just that year or next year. So I would like to know if you follow these children, if you know about them, how is it? Because it's 8 years of your project. So you have children now, about 20, I don't know, 20 years old, yes? So do you have access to them, these adults, these adolescents now?
Sometimes. It's a challenge. Nós temos algumas famílias que são conhecidas, né, de amigos com crianças que participaram desde o primeiro ano do projeto, que agora estão com 17, 18 anos. E a gente consegue acompanhar o quanto que o projeto impactou a vida deles, na atitude deles e também nas escolhas agora profissionais, alguns indo para a área ambiental. Mas, na grande maioria, como são 12 escolas e a gente trabalha com uma média de 370 crianças por ano de toda a rede municipal, a gente acaba não conseguindo ter esse acompanhamento do posterior, né? O que aconteceu, para onde foi, se isso está impactando ou não. E isso é uma preocupação que a gente tem, a gente já discutiu dentro da equipe várias vezes, como conseguir esse acompanhamento, como conseguir esses dados para ter um parâmetro, né? Para poder seguir o impacto que o nosso trabalho fez na vida dessas crianças. E se alguém tiver alguma sugestão, a gente agradece muito.
She was just saying about the difficulty that is to be in touch with the children that participate in the program. They are working with 12 schools and 300 children per year, so it's difficult to follow them. But they are in close contact with some families, and they can see the impact of the project in these children and their choices in life, like they choose to do some faculty college on environmental areas. So it is impacting, but they are worried about how to do it. It's such a large-scale project, and it's a necessity for them.
Any other questions? Oh, yep.
Congratulations. Posso perguntar em português para você? Não, mas vai dar trabalho para ela. This program is included in PPPs. You know PPPs?
Yes, it's included.
Okay, thank you. And como suggestion, you take a question or entrevista to the children when begin and pass year another question.
Okay.
And you can compare the entertainment.
Yes, thank you. Fica um pouco difícil para nós esperar passar 1 ano, 2 ou 5, porque a rede municipal de educação é até o 5º ano. Então, as crianças saem da rede municipal e vão para a rede estadual. E daí já complica o acesso com essas escolas, porque é outro nível governamental e também são turmas muito grandes de crianças. Mas a gente pode tentar conseguir uma parceria com essa escola. Inclusive, a gente gostaria de continuar o trabalho com essas crianças no nível mais aprofundado de conhecimento e de pesquisa com eles na praia, para os que tiverem interesse.
Just to translate that, PPP is the political pedagogical projects of the schools here in Brazil. So she was saying that it's difficult to include in the PPPs because the children stay in the elementary school for 5 years, and it's a very short time period. Then they choose 2 schools that are under the state governance, and so elementary school is under the municipality, the city's governance, and the high school is under state. So it's it's a barrier for them to do this kind of intervention in this pedagogical projects of the schools.
So, any last questions before we move on? No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I'm enchanted by this project now. It's a huge example of science literacy initiative, and let's discuss it more about it in the afternoon. So now we are going to call Natalia Zafra. She's the founder and general director of the Mundo Sem Bitucas movement, the world without cigarette butts movement. Graduated in business administration from the University of Campinas, designer for sustainability by Gaia Education, and postgraduating in sustainability strategic management by FIA. Coordinator of the Zero Waste Week in Rio in 2017, entrepreneur semi-finalist of Banco Challenge Rio 2016, Shell Youth Initiative 2017, supported by Habits Incubator in University of São Paulo. She worked as sustainability analyst at a large company in the electric power sector in Rio de Janeiro. Thank you, Natalia.
Hi everyone. So thank you for introducing me. So I start speak a little bit about Mundo Sem Bitucas, in search of a better world to live without cigarette litter. So you know this, it's common to see the people smoking and fruit. That's okay? So I can start now. Only for explain. So it's me. A question. How many cigarette litter do you see on the streets every day? So many. Smoker numbers. According to the World Health Organization, 1.6 billion of smokers in the world. On average, they smoke 7.7 cigarettes a day. That is about 12.3 billion of cigarette butts discarded daily. So to reflect, does the cigarette filter have the same path as the bottle? Wow. The problem, cigarette filters, not plastic straw, so I have many straw here. The worst contaminants of the ocean, I don't know yet, because in my monitoring, I can see cigarette butts all the time, but in my beach, like Copacabana, Ipanema, Canal 3, Canal 3, in Santos, having so many cigarette butts. But this information is very important to search more, to talk about this information, because it's very dangerous to cap data and speak about that. Scenario, like news, cigarette butts, not plastic straws, are the worst contaminants of ocean, according to the new study. So, under the largest continuum beach cleanups exposed by the Ocean Conservatory has been collecting trash early on the beach since 1986. In that time, cigarette butts were by far the most collected trash on the beach. So this number is 2.4 million cigarette butts. It's so many. Impacts in the environment, birds, fish can eat this litter. How long until it's deposited? Almost 10 years to deposit. Is cigarette toxic waste? Yeah, it's toxic waste. Have research speaking more than 4,000 toxins, substances include heavy metals. It's possible cause the flood, fire, and about the Moçambiques starts idea about the cigarette litter problem. So we started this. For this man, I start speaking and reflecting about the problem. So in this case in MASP in 2014. So Mundo Sem Bitucas, it was born of the board to see the great amount of cigarette butts in streets and sidewalks of the capital São Paulo. Have many activities here. So today it seeks to raise the awareness of smokers and the non-smokers about the social environment impact of cigarette types in the environment with cleanups, workshops, speaks, mapping, artistic interventions and campaigns. Sorry. Cleanups. Here in the first one is in Santos. It's possible to see 3,030 cigarette filters with 24 volunteers. In this case, is Rio de Janeiro, in Copacabana Beach. Cleanups in the parks, in Ibirapuera Park. Somas Festival in Jaú. Workshops, construction of portable ashtray with recyclable, usable material. Speeches, university, speaking our students. Sidewalk mapping, with a collab app helps to map the problem in São Paulo. Artistic interventions, use of toilet paper rolls turned into large cigarette litter to show that there is no small garbage. Campaigns by A World Without Bitucas. In cleanups MASP last year. So I can other movie.
Se você fuma um cigarro, qual o problema nenhum? Eu também me amarro em soltar fumaça e viajar. Mas depois que eu viajo, eu me conscientizo. Pego a bituca do chão e jogo no lixo.
Aí, verdade, mano, deixa até eu te falar. Como será a casa desse povo? Imagina que é um lar, e o lar é um planeta. Sabe, aqui é muita treta, já que vocês querem aprender, então pega papel e caneta. Agora aceita, e aceita tudo que eu digo. Cê sabe bem, bituca tem que ir no lixo, porque senão o bagulho é proceder. Se a bituca não for no lixo, mano, o lixo é você. Já entendeu qual que foi nessa sessão? Cuidar do planeta, mano, deixar de ser cuzão. Cê sabe bem, sabotagem veio falar. Com hip hop e bondade aqui eu faço um bom lugar. E é pra vocês também, é referência. Encosta mesmo pra ouvir freestyle com essência. Cê sabe bem, e é sessão de descarregos. Moleque que manda verso improvisado e vai sem medo.
É descarrego, conscientização. Eu pego um cigarro do chão e jogo no lixo.
Sabe bem, nunca tem que ir no lixo, porque senão o bagulho é proceder. Se a bituca não for no lixo, mano, o lixo é você.
So, Mundo Sem Bitucas Network. Nowadays we have a group inside the WhatsApp. Have almost 147 volunteers, and in this case we discuss the cigarette butts and initiatives around the world. It's very interesting. So in the future, to develop an international network with the same subject of the raise awareness about the social and environmental impacts of cigarette ends. Volunteers around the world together in search of the better world to live without cigarette butts. Yeah, it's possible. We are stronger together. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Any questions?
Thank you. Hi, Natalia. Thank you. So the question is about mainly the components of the cigarette butt. So you said that we have a lot of toxins, right? But the material it's made, so I've heard some people say that there is plastic on it, so the filter is plastic. Some people say that there are a few that are not plastic. Do you have this number? And just a second.
Exactly, I don't know, but it's plastic. The filter is plastic.
Okay,
too. Acetato de celulose. I don't know in English. Do you know? Cellulose.
But it's considered, cellulose is considered plastic? Is that? Okay, okay. And just a matter of sharing, I guess. There's a private company now that is recycling the bitucas, the cigarette butts. So there are a few municipalities in São Paulo coast that are making agreements so they can collect this cigarette butts and then recycle it, and they transform it into basically paper material like notebooks and stuff like that. So I don't know if you have any type of partnership as well with these kind of companies that can recycle all the material that you're collecting as well.
I try, but I don't have money to pay a private company. So here in Brazil, near São Paulo, have Apoiato Recicla. So this company recycling the cigarette butts and transforming recycled paper. So I asked to Apoiato, but Natalia, you need money. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard even for municipalities, sometimes it's hard to make the agreement because it's too expensive. So maybe, like, if we create like a network or something, we can try to get together with them. If the cigarette butts are one of the most encountered items, so maybe with our strength of all the institutions, maybe we can I don't know, make agreements with lower prices, maybe.
It's true, because last month, the big company of tobacco called me and try to maybe greenwashing to like a partner, but for me it's not good because I have my essences. It's not. I don't know the não bateu, entendeu? Não deu certo. And I have many calls with politicians here in São Paulo. Started this year with Eliseu Gabriel, is a vereador. It's the name, I don't know, vereador in English, because he has a law about put the ashtray, portable ashtray around the city. It's a municipal law. So I talk. Maybe the next year we can do something better for this world, because I think it's only have one word, so we need conservated. Yeah. So thank you. It's complaint. So, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Perfect. I've got a question myself, but I'll hold it back.
Hi, thank you so much. That was such a nice talk. So my question's more about kind of the alternatives that are available to smokers in Brazil. I'm from the UK, and now it's quite popular for people to use vaporizers rather than cigarettes. And I have not seen one person, I've only been here 2 days, but I didn't see any vaporizers anywhere. No? Yeah, so they do exist. And also, I know that you can get non-plastic filters.
Yeah.
These are for rolling tobaccos. How popular are they in Brazil?
I have many friends, activist friends, use them, but it's very more expensive here in Brazil. But I don't know; it's not common. See. Oh. Really? Ah, não, entendi que ela estava falando do filtro. No, it's legal here. Cigarettes, electricals, yeah.
No, it's not common. And what kind of legislations are there for cigarette advertising? I've noticed that now in the UK we have everything is covered, so you can't see the brand names and things like this. So they're going to implement packaging with just no branding, just white plain packaging. And I wonder whether, if there was something like this, whether this would be an opportunity to provide messages to the smokers about where, I guess most people don't even think about it. I know a lot of people who smoke have very strong environmental values. They would never, ever drop a bottle on the floor, but I've seen them putting their cigarette butts on the floor. So I wonder whether, is there anything... I understand that you don't want to work with tobacco companies, but I wonder whether there would be some way to provide them this messaging at the source. I don't know.
I don't know if I understand the question.
I'm not sure it was a question. It might be a bit of advice or suggestion about kind of providing information when people are looking to buy and using it to try to stop.
Is there any legislation coming in, like from the government, some restrictions around tobacco packaging, advertising, anything like this?
Here in Brazil, we have the campaign on the yes.
So you have messages on the packets already.
Yes.
It's health, yeah,
yes,
that's the same.
Always, but
yeah,
it's impossible because I have a friend, a smoker, and put the the adesivo? Stickers. So, it's okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of research on that, or hiding it into other boxes and stuff, so you don't see it.
Yeah.
I'm a psychologist and I have done some work on this, these people avoiding these messages. But I wonder whether just getting people to think about getting the smell, obviously we need to target the behavior at the source. We need to, it's good to pick it up and recycle, but yeah, obviously we need to stop them throwing in the first place.
It's terrific. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think that was a
thank you.
question.
It's not a question, it's just to share that my husband is a vaporizer user, and he says that Anvisa, our government agents of health, didn't allow to sell vaporizer here. But we think that it's because of the lobby of the cigarette industry, so the health of the people is in danger because of the earnings of the industry of cigarettes in Brazil. We are the third world yet. That's it. Yeah.
And in this case, I think it's other electronic waste. Why other? It's not necessary.
And I have, if I'm allowed, a quick question myself. So I think just the conversation and your talk has already stimulated lots of questions, and everybody can relate or understand or have experiences with. And it sounds like you've got a great pool of volunteers, very engaged and activists. How did you get them? How did you engage people in the first place to do this?
So I think I'm multi abilities for this situation, because it's nowadays I'm empreendedora, entrepreneur, and I love to do friends and engage a new friends or people. Nowadays I study sustainability and other things, and my friends talk with friends. It's possible to develop the network. So it's hard because I sleep, I think, 4 hours a day, because it's have many messages. I think Teresa, João, and Silmara, it's possible see the group inside the WhatsApp, and I have the Facebook. Have more than 3,000 people there, and send me messages. I wanna do the same. How? So it's chatting all the time is very important, and I'm very happy to this result.
Thank you. And any more questions? No? Okay then, we'll move on. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Natalia.
Now you have to pick up your cigarette butt.
Yeah. See that nobody took it for you. Shame. Thank you, Natalia, for an inspiring talk on this important subject. And we are going to discuss these initiatives later on the discussion period at afternoon. Now I'd like to call Elisa Vansluis-Menck. She is an oceanographer, graduated in 2015 at the Oceanographic Institute here at the University of São Paulo. She facilitates educational activities related to marine debris in the Understand the Debris program in the north coast of São Paulo since 2016. Elisa is currently finishing her master's on integrated environmental analysis in the Federal University of São Paulo, and more recently she has joined the coastal marine monitoring team in Ubatuba. Thank you, Elisa.
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. So I'm here to present the Programa Entenda o Lixo program, or Understand the Debris program, right? So it's a trocadilho, so a word twist in Portuguese for tent. So usually we work in a tent, and we're talking about marine debris, okay? So I'll present it later for you guys. This project is born in Tuha's lab, okay? We have a lot of different people here that have already been working with us. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the story of the history of the project. So our coordinators are Tuha and Marcia. Lucas, who was here before, I think he had to leave, but he and I are the main team, the current team. And this huge list here, almost everyone is here, luckily. And we've been working together in a few different activities. So the project Entenda o Lixo, or Understand the Debris, is fruit of a partnership between the Oceanographic Institute and Plastivida. Plastivida is a society of the plastic industry. So where's Natalia? So we're working with the plastic industry. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about the pros and cons. And so this project was born in 2012 after Plastivida signed a global not certificate, how do you call it? Agreement, thank you. Agreement of working with marine debris to mitigate marine debris, right? So this project is a technical scientific project to mitigate marine litter and promote scientific studies, environmental education, and good practices of waste disposal. Back then the project was mainly focused in promoting research, so supporting the Tuha's lab research related to marine debris. And we had a very big monitoring project, and we researched 3 different states, so São Paulo, Alagoas, and Bahia, with several surveys along the year. But this monitoring program, unfortunately, only lasted for 3 years, but there are some results that are coming out and being published in the next few months or year. I don't know exactly how the research is, but it's already turning into an article that everyone has access, all right? So these are some one photo of the people working there at the time. And unfortunately, the monitoring was stopped in 2015. After that, the scope of the project changed a little bit, and we started focusing more on environmental education, and that's where I came in. So I wasn't part of the regular team back in 2012. So in 2016, we started the environmental education with this school in Peruíbe. That the idea of the activity was a 4-day workshop where the kids went to the beach with the professor. There was a teacher that was very involved with the thematic, and he could even take it further with the kids. And the idea was also to make a more scientific approach with the children, so they went back with the data they collected and made graphs and all. So we had this scientific approach as well with the kids. So that was the first big activity that we had. And then in the Olympic Games, we had the opportunity to stay in Rio in this beautiful tent here close to Museu do Amanhã, so the Tomorrow Museum in Rio. And I think I have, yeah. So as you see, we had different banners. Banners was I think 6 per 6 meter square meter tent. So that's the idea of Entenda o Lixo, right? And we stayed there for 2 months talking with people that, well, from different nationalities, different social backgrounds and all. So it was very, for me, personally, it was very intense because I got to see the real world. So I had to talk to people from, I don't know, Scotland and all, and so we had to have a lot of knowledge and all. And also we had to talk to people that were living in the street. So how do you approach someone that's living on the street and talk about garbage, right? They don't even have what to eat. We don't even have sewage system taken care of properly, right? So these were some interesting topics that started appearing for our team. And also we had some interesting people coming up to us and asking, oh, is it here that you're making the tooth surgery? Because we were all in white and we had these banners, everything was very clean, and we were like, not really. So that's the thing about, I think, coming out of the university and being in the street talking to people from different backgrounds, right? So that was very nice. And from that, I think we learned a lot. And then we're still on our way, but started to change a little bit the activities, think of a more, we're trying to, a more continuous strategy as well, and what to speak with different realities. And also all these questions arise from this experience in Rio, all right? Because it was very intense, and for us, continued, right? For the team. So the main goals of the project are to bring the attention to the anthropogenic impacts in the ocean, right? So Tuha has already presented this image here. So we're talking about marine debris, but the idea is to tackle all this information, not information necessarily, but tackle all these problems that we face in the ocean. So to bring the eyes to the ocean, right? And so we focus on marine debris by raising awareness of participants about their habits, about the waste management in general. So we talk about the whole process, not only about marine debris itself. So we try to bring questions, I think, guiding questions, so then people can start to think differently about how they relate to what they're producing as waste. And also we attempt to improve marine environmental quality by doing so. So this is our small activities chart. So you see we have a lot of dreams, so we want to do a lot of things, and I'm going to show throughout the presentation some things that we're being able to work on and some things that we haven't been able to really work on still. So we had the itinerant tent, that was the one in Rio, and from that we learned a lot, as I said, and 2 years ago, I guess, 2017, we changed this format and created the ocean we want. That's the name, O Mar que Queremos activity. There's a big tunnel made out of tents, different tents. So you go in, you learn a little bit about the importance of the ocean, and then the ocean gets a little bit dirty. We have all this waste we've already also collected on the beach and all. So we put everything hanging. It's a very nice tunnel to go in. And in the end, the idea is that everyone that passed through the ocean, through our ocean, clean and dirty ocean, make a commitment to what they can do to change, so it's a commitment to their future ocean. What can I do in my life to have the ocean I want for the future? So everyone that works with this activity really like this last photo here, because we have a lot of very nice phrases and commitments of people, or even just thoughts. And I think it's something nice that we learned is that people like to interact with the activity, right? So leave a message is something that's really nice, very nice. So we also have this workshop with students. That's Tuha there. That was last month, I guess. We were in a very class A plus school, but that's not the only schools that we work with. This is Colégio Porto Seguro in close to Campinas. So we show some photos. The kids are separated in different groups. They receive photos of marine debris that we found marine debris that we found at the beaches in our monitorings, and they create a story about this item, all right, and then we share it with the other groups. This is Luciana, that's back there. She's working in another strategy, so we have a basin full of water with different materials. So we have plastic, we have iron, well, different types of metals, we have paper, we have different materials, and then we can talk to the children about the different densities and how do the items work, or the debris work at sea, all right? So how they spread among the different compartments of the ocean. That's very nice as well. I'm going to skip citizen science and elaboration of activities with teacher for now, because that's something we still need to improve a little. We've been doing a lot of talks in with different stakeholders. So this one is in Ubatuba as well. We had it was a talk with people from the municipalities, from different stakeholders, basically. And we are also doing it at schools. So this is Tuha again with workshops with teachers, which we also do the same strategy of the photos. And we talk to the teachers on of how can we bring this topic to the classroom, right? So we're trying to build this strategy along with them, with the teachers, to bring it to the school. We've been also in different events with our stand. Here, different photos. The first one is in the launching of the national plan to combat marine debris. We were in Ilhabela and Santos. And here we have a photo in a race that happened in Ilhabela. So we're trying to be on the different events that we can as well. And then we can relate to marine debris, not specifically at school or more formal places. So since we have the partnership with Plastivida, we also try to do some, not necessarily lectures, but bring the topic to discuss inside some of the industry actors, right? So this is one of the examples of a meeting that we had. And from these meetings, the point is not necessarily to do the environmental education with them, but the idea is to bring the topic and then together create products to improve the situation of waste disposal or creation. Maybe Tuhabu will explain later about the pellets in the industry. So how can we reduce the loss of pellets in the plastic industry, for example? So we were doing beach monitoring. Now we're not doing it like a proper monitoring. And for the educational material, I don't know if everyone could check our comic book, comic revistinha. That's Mariana here. And in 2016 in Rio, we got to know her. She was 5 years old at the time. And she came with her dad and said, her dad and her said that they wanted to clean the beach. So she was super excited to do a cleanup. And they organized it with the family and friends. So we were luckily at Rio when she could manage to do it. And we helped her, which was very cool. So inspired by her story, we created this Mariana and the Super Macabros. So like where the debris are super creepy, are monsters, but in the end, we always explain that the story is not really that the debris is the monster, right? The debris is just a material, right? So explain the whole story of the debris, how it got to the beach. So then that's the idea of our comic book. I think we may have some to distribute if anyone likes as well. So volunteering. Thank you. Our target volunteers are mainly people that have ocean scientific background, right? So from that list, it's not every name. I didn't have every name there, but most of the people are people that are working with us in the lab. So they have already an involvement with marine sciences. We have punctual but frequent activities, so every now and then we have people going to the coast and working with us there. We've had a lot of experiences now in the beginning of the year. Now we're for the high season, right? We have, I think, 3 or 4 different activities happening, and people from São Paulo went there to build the activity and make it happen. So these are some photos. And what we can do basically is to provide the maintenance costs. And unfortunately, we don't survey, we don't evaluate the volunteers yet. We don't have this approach yet. So these are some different photos of the people that are working with us. We do some cleanups with partner institutions, especially in the northern coast of São Paulo. That's where I live. So this first photo here, so both are in Ubatuba, the same city that Guilherme was presenting before. The first one is in Barra Seca. That's a group. It's a network of local people that live there that are organizing these activities. So we come as partners. And the second one is the Verão no Clima beach cleanup that helped in the beginning of the year as well. And to finish the whole process, we were there to help with the cleanup as well. But in this situation, we are not the organizers. We just come to help and to, to come with our knowledge about cleanups and try to help their organization in a lower level of commitment. Like, we're not the main organizers. And also we're doing the cleanups with schools. So both of them were last year. So we do the cleanup, we go back to school or to a covered place, and we separate the material. So I've learned with this strategy with some people that are here. João was telling me a lot about that, about the importance of separating the material after the cleanup. So not only collecting everything, tighten the bag, and then that's it, leave it to someone to collect it, right? So you go back and you look at what you collected. That to me seemed very important, so that the children could actually know what are the materials. So it's a bit more shocking than seeing everything closed in a bag. And we are using the Ocean Conservancy forms, but we find it difficult to organize large groups with a scientific methodology to survey everything. So I haven't been, me specifically, with these small groups of children, I haven't been able to look at this data and put it as a scientific data afterwards, because I don't really, I'm not really sure that is scientifically well collected in a way, right? Because it's hard to organize with all the children running everywhere. So we're trying to raise awareness by basically using our guiding questions. So what is marine debris? Where does it come from? Where does it go to? What are the impacts it causes, and who is the responsible? So thinking about not only you, citizen, you're the problem, so don't throw your rubbish away. So we're always, away you do, but not on the floor. So we're always trying to bring a more complex conversation to the participants. So thinking about the different stakeholders. Natalia, who's also back there, she's always asking the kids, if you were I forgot, prefeito, how do you say prefeito? Huh? The mayor, yeah. So if you're the mayor of the city, what would you do to combat the marine debris? So always bringing these questions so then the people can understand that everyone can change something, not only personally, but also professionally, to make these things work as a system, right? So we bring photos of curious debris and impacted animals, so then it's a bit more shocking as well. In our conversation, we critically analyze local waste management, and we have different strategies and adaptable, so we can work with different groups. So from here, our next steps, as I've shown you, we're working with this very big chart, menu of activities. We still have a lot to work on the social media way, because Lucas and I were not social influencers at all. So Natalia, if you have some tips for us, would be very good, because we usually cannot post a lot of things on the web. So that's something that we really think it's important nowadays. Mariana too is on the way as well, so another comic book may come along fairly soon. The beach monitorings would be good if we could go back as well, but as I said, it's not part of the scope of the project right now, like a main part. And the citizen science and elaboration of activities with teachers is also something that we want to do, but since we have different approaches, we're just trying to balance between all the strategies we have. So basically that's it. This is a photo that Tuha took in 2016 as well. So in the Coke bottle is written, "This is gold," right? So the idea is that to talk about marine debris is an opportunity to put stakeholders together, even though maybe their essence or their goal is not exactly the same, but there are convergencies. I don't know. Some points are converge. So maybe it's an opportunity to tackle different societal problems in general. So I forgot to put the social media, but we have our email here, and we also have Instagram and Facebook, even though it's not super active. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So lots of activities. I can imagine you're not bored. Any questions?
Vou falar em português. Eu, na verdade, queria agradecer pessoalmente a equipe do Entendo Lixo. Eu conhecia pessoalmente o professor Turra, mas agora eu estou conhecendo pessoalmente a Elisa. Eu acho que eu vi o Lucas por aqui, não sei. Que eu sou do projeto Verão no Clima e queria agradecer mesmo a ajuda que vocês deram para a gente lá no Litoral Norte, tá? Muito obrigada.
Obrigada.
She's just thanking the collaboration with Entenda o Lixo with another project with his summer and climate.
Any other questions or comments? Anything?
Hello, Elisa.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, and well, congratulations for your work. It's really wonderful, everything that you're doing. And well, I would like to ask you about the beach cleanups and data recording that you mentioned, because you said that you use the forms of the Ocean Conservancy. And those forms are really, really difficult. They have like 40 different items of litter, so sometimes I feel that you almost need a PhD to use that sheet. So how do you do it with the schools or with the volunteers for the data sheet? Is there a training with them before going to the beach? Sorry. Or, well, that's it. If there is any training or something before.
Yeah, right. So no, there's no. So the form that we use is adapted, right? So we don't use the
whole thing?
One that they spread. So it's adapted. We try to simplify it, but still, I find it difficult. Even the simple form, the simple worksheet is very hard to work, because most of the cleanups we go with the children or with the people from the community straight after having the first conversation with them. So then you go, you can present the form quickly, but still, people put, for example, styrofoam, like the small balls of styrofoam, they don't go as microplastic, but they go as styrofoam. So it's very hard, and it's like in the cleanups is one of the things that I think is the hardest. And the experience that we had with the Verão no Clima was the same. That was a very big cleanup, and they were trying to make it very organized because they had people working with them for, I don't know, a month straight, and talking about marine debris and all. But still, when you get to to filling up a form at the beach, so you have different things happening. So I find it very hard to make. That's why, like, I don't really count on it as a scientific data. Yeah. We simplify it, but still, it's not that simple. Yeah, to work with.
Okay, thank you.
And we've got time for one more question before we go for lunch. Oh, no, there we are.
It's going to be hard.
No, only to say, Elisa, thanks for the presentation. There are several difficulties, and you expressed the difficulties very, very well in terms of making things take longer. So it's not punctual activities or snapshots, which is really, really difficult because you need to maintain resources, teams, and it's complicated. But I would like to consider your intervention, Daniela, because we have a very nice initiative in Chile, now in the coast of the Pacific, named Científicos de la Basura. You are representing these guys here, Martin Thiel and others, and they have lots, almost 100 protocols. Tens of protocols to work with teachers, with students, and then I think we can build on the existing experience, and they have a lot. So this kind of workshop will create this kind of opportunity, and I think we, after the workshop, build more, not only with the partners here in Brazil, like the state government, which has a very important role in the aspect of marine litter in the state, both with educators, schools, and also municipalities. The 16 municipalities we have in the coast, with the NGOs and so on. I think that's a nice opportunity. And then we have some assets in the Entendo Lixo project, but all of our colleagues that were here brought a lot of assets, inputs, ideas, data. 1 year ago, we didn't have data, mostly. Now we have a lot of more data. We have the report of the Argonauta Institute. Amazing. It's amazing. We didn't have that 1 year ago. So we need to have more. The data you are compiling in the EcoSurf, it's fantastic. So I think that's it's not a question. I just want to reinforce that. Okay.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment on what Turra said? I think we should start also thinking on building capacity. You said that this training of teachers and working with teachers is a challenge for you now, but I think we should do it more and work with the courses here in the university or what else that deal with the initial training of teachers so they can multiply. I think it's a challenge for all environmental education initiatives to work on a long-term way. So I think we should think on this and seek for people who are also wanting to do this. So I think it's a good way to start, a point to start.
So we'll end by saying thank you very much.
As you can see, this is a workshop organized by rich people because we are on time. That's why we started the partnership. Lunchtime. I have some guidance for you. We are going, can you listen to me? Yes. We are going to have lunch in the Brasiliana library. Brasiliana library is 100 steps from here. It's very close. It's here, in fact. You go out the building, okay? And then, when you are out the building, we have two entrances, okay? It's the entrance here, the closest entrance from in relation to here. And then when you are out, you move to the